It is high noon, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Welcome to the High Noon Stream. I am Pugs Moran. This is, we call it the High Noon Stream. I already said that. High Noon here on the Radio Misfits podcast and streaming network. This is the first of most days. We do two streams. The first one, this one, High Noon, already said that. We come back again at 9 p.m. also Central Standard Time, and we do a little something we like to call Radio Misfits Podcast Platform presents. Radio Misfits Podcast Platform proudly presents Pugs and Parker's Pillow Pundits. I don't know why it's so heavy on P's. It just evolved that way naturally. There we go. It's official, folks. It's official. YouTube is saying that we are on the stream, I suppose is how you say this. All right, here's the deal with this. Like I said, we do two. This one here, the noon show. What this is all about everything that's trending. If it's a trending topic, if it's a hot topic, if it's a headline, if it's breaking news, if it's something that is happening today, I try and give it to you. Little bite-sized morsels. You're not going to get all of the nuts and bolts of every individual story, but you're going to get just enough to have what we like to call around here cocktail party knowledge of the world that's unfolding in real time. That's what we do. The Pillow Talk one with me and Parker, that's a little bit different. That's more conversational. That's we take on stupider. We take on topics that aren't quite as it's me and Parker, and he's a loose cannon, and makes it. It's a good listen. You can hear all of the shows, whether you want to catch up on some of this week's High Noon editions. You can find those and all of the Pillow Talks. All of the Radio Misfits podcast platform proudly presents Pugs and Parker's Pillow Pundits. You can find all of those simply by going to pugscast.com. Pugscast.com. That takes you directly to the YouTube page that has all of our shows and everything. Hi, April. April checking in on this Friday. Hold on, let me get the chat room all up and running. There we go. Now I can see what we've got. Okay, here we go. It's cold, man. It is cold. What is it? It's currently 30 degrees here in beautiful Highland Park, Texas. We still got the snow. I had predicted that by noon today, all the snow that came yesterday was going to be gone, melted or deleted, because this is Texas. Also, I should point out today, this may not be as long of a high noon show as possibly, we typically do. Usually I try to shoot for 2 hours. A couple of times this week we went 3 hours. I have stuff I got to do. I apologize. My kid is off school today, and it's my weekend with him, and he's demanding that I come and get him, and he's been blowing up my phone all morning. And that's not the reason, though. The reason is because there are other things that I have to do after the show. It's bill day. I have to run around. I have to go to the banks. I got to do all that kind of stuff this afternoon before I pick him up. So I don't know that we're going to do we may not even do a full 2 hours. I promise you at least an hour and a half. I promise you that. I've done that before. I'm like, yeah, I'll give you an hour and a half. That's all I'm promising. And then I go 2.5. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I do have a bit of a time issue today. Got some running around to do. All right, let's talk about what today is, because that's what High Noon is all about. Today is February the 4th. It is the 35th day of the year. There are 330 days remaining in the year 2022. Let's do this first, okay? Because, all right, we like to start out with a moment of joy. Yeah, we do. We start out with a moment of joy, and this is not the one I need. This is here we go. I thought I had it all. Okay, there we go. This is a non-traditional moment of joy. Moment of joys around here are just little things that we do at the top of the show just to kind of set the tone, just to kind of get everybody in a good mood. This is a negative show, even though the news and the trending topics and all of that, it's typically geared towards the negative. We try to be optimists. Yesterday was Optimist Day. We try to be optimist every day around here. Non-traditional moment of joy here, because typically moment of joys are videos. I think once it was an audio clip, but this is just a tweet. Today's moment of joy is a tweet. Okay. Now hold on. Let me do this properly because there's a way for me to do this tweet in full. Okay, here you go. This is how we're going to do it. All right. What's up, Adam? What's up, Leslie? All right. So here, I just want you to look at this. And I'm going to tell you what the tweet says. Okay. All right. It's adorable. Who doesn't love a dog? Look at that dog. How adorable is that dog? Look at that guy. He's a cute guy, isn't he? I mean, who wouldn't love a dog like that? Okay, here's why it's your moment of joy. This is from someone named DJ Square who posted this on. I've been laughing about this since I saw it because it is absolutely uncanny. Okay, look at that dog. And then here's the tweet. DJ Square wrote, "Someone said my dog looks like Will Ferrell, and now I can't unsee it." That dog looks like Will Ferrell. That dog does. I don't know what it is. I started looking at it because you didn't notice it until you actually heard it, right? Until somebody says that dog looks like Will Ferrell. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, holy crap. Is that a filter? That dog, look at the eyes. I mean, I don't even know what it is. What if that dog was like an animation, if that dog was a cartoon and it was voiced by Will Ferrell? Because, a lot of times when, celebrity actors voice characters in cartoons, they try and make the cartoon character look reminiscent of the actor who's playing in some small way. That's crazy. Come on. Do you agree? I mean, someone said my dog looks like Will Ferrell and I can't unsee it now. Oh God, that dog is awesome. How can that dog has to be named Will Ferrell? You've got to call that dog Will. And who's the person who saw it? Like, I'm sure that 1 million people have seen this dog over the course of this dog's life. Just walking around. Oh, isn't that a cute dog? People have petted that dog. People have rubbed that dog's belly. People have spent time around that dog. And then it just took one random dude to come up and go, "Hey, your dog looks like Will Ferrell." And now everybody sees it. That's I don't know why it makes me laugh. Because you're an idiot. That's why it makes you laugh, because you are a freaking idiot. Jeff says, "I'm sure the person who noticed it was stoned." And then Jeff also says it's in the eyes. That's awesome. I mean, it is. It is absolutely the eyes. It is. This dog has Will Ferrell. Let me. Should we? Oh, I wish I could do a side-by-side. I can't. We don't have time for a side-by-side. Pull up a picture of Will Ferrell and you'll see what we're talking about. It is. It is the eyes. That dog has Will Ferrell. I didn't even realize that Will Ferrell had necessarily unique eyes or a unique look, but he does. He does. There you go. All right. Done sharing that. So that's our moment of joy. Let's get into everything that we need to talk about today. I should also tell you, as far as today's topics go, boy, was it a grind. And I am deeply concerned that over the next few weeks, it is going to be really difficult to find something worthy to talk about. Because I'll tell you right now, I ain't talking about the Olympics. Everything is the Olympics. I didn't even know that the Olympics had started, but apparently they did. Apparently they started 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever. And tonight is the opening ceremonies. I don't even know how to watch the opening ceremonies. The way that I consume what we used to call television, I don't know, I guess now we call it content, streaming content. The way I used to consume television my entire life until about 10 years ago was you come home, you put on the TV is on the last station that it was on, and you just walk around and do your thing, and the TV's on in the background, and then maybe at some point you used to get out the TV guide and you'd thumb through it and you'd say, let's see what's on primetime today. And, and back then, the cover of the TV guide would have a big picture of the Olympics and, whatever network was broadcasting, and you'd know where to go to watch the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. I have no idea. I don't even know if I have. I mean, I know that I do. I know I have access to NBC network television. And it's on NBC, but NBC isn't covering it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to rely on clips. That's pretty much how I'm going to ingest this Winter Olympics. And when something of note occurs, I'm sure that a clip will be going around somewhere. No, NBC Sports, Jeff says, um, they always have a few events before the ceremonies. Yeah, but that's that. Boy, how does that make you feel? Right? You're like one of these stupid events that doesn't even count. It's like, yeah, well, I guess they count, but it's like, yeah, you start the Thursday before. You guys, whatever it is that you're doing there. You guys, we'll do the ceremonies. We'll officially start. You guys start before, whatever. Nobody cares about your sport anyway. We're not gonna put that. I don't know. And I used to, as a child, I used to prefer the Winter Olympics, but that's because I was a little kid in 1980 when the hockey team, the whole Miracle on Ice, do you believe in miracles? When that whole thing went down. So that really set the tone for me. And I was a Winter Olympics guy. And then you had the Miracle on Ice, and then you had the Tanya Harding thing. I mean, it just seems like there was always more to be interested in for me with the Winter Olympics. I like to sled. They got sledding in the Olympics. No, it's called luge and bobsled. It's sledding. Let's just call it what it is. It's sledding. It's fast sledding, but it's sledding. And then ice skating. I could ice skate, so I could watch and I could relate to that. I can't really relate to the triple jump. I don't know why. It's a Summer Olympics. Why would anybody? I guess in the Summer Olympics, I like the dashes. Like the fastest man stuff. But that's basically it. I don't care about Olympic baseball. I mean, I don't want to watch that. I don't. So the Summer Games were never really my thing, but because I'm a creature of the popular culture, I would get caught up in it. But I always enjoyed the Winter Olympics. I always, because again, probably goes back to the influence of the 1980 Olympic men's hockey team that got me into the Winter Olympics. But I honestly don't care. I really don't. I don't know I couldn't name one American. We used to be able to name, like, for months before the Olympics, there would be this all out ad blitz promoting our athletes and the ones to root for. I have no idea. Oh, you know what else I kind of like? I kind of like the gymnastics in the Summer Games, now that I think about it. And not that it's relatable, because that's not relatable at all, I think, unless you're a chimpanzee. I mean, who the hell can do that stuff? Very few of us. That's why it's Olympics, dude, because not everybody can do it. Yeah, I suppose you're right. But okay, so I like gymnastics, and I even kind of found myself over the years watching and being interested in figure skating. I don't know why. I mean, I could skate. I don't know if you'd call me skating on a frozen lake figure skating, but I can skate without a hockey stick in my hand. I can do that. Not particularly great. I'm a middling average skater for a kid who grew up in the Midwest, who had skates put on his feet at like 6 years old for the first time. I mean, I can skate. I wouldn't embarrass myself. You threw skates on me, I could go out there and do it. But I actually found myself getting into figure skating years ago. And maybe that was because of the Tanya Harding drama, the Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding. Oh, and then as James pointed out a couple of weeks ago on the Pillow Talk show, Katarina Witt had a lot to do with it. When I was like a teenager, Katarina Witt was really hot. She was kind of cool to watch skate. All right. Anyway, the Olympics, they're starting today, I guess. I don't know. I'm certain that my son and I will not be watching the Olympics opening ceremonies. All right, let's get into what today is. These are all of the things that make today memorable. The reason why today, well, things happened on this day. Today in history, we'll call it. Let's see here. On this day in 1974, the Symbionese Liberation Army kidnaps heiress Patty Hearst in Berkeley, California. That was a big news story. That's probably one of the earliest news stories that I remember following. And I was only like 3 or 4. And I guess I don't know that I was following it so much as later in life, in my teens, I kind of became obsessed with it. I read a book about the Patty Hearst kidnapping when I was like 14 or 15 years old. And it was just really fascinating. It's where I learned about Stockholm syndrome. And there was a big debate before we had all of these stupid conspiracy theories. I guess there was always the Kennedy conspiracy theory, but that was silly. Well, not silly, and that's not really a conspiracy theory because I think we all believe. I think it's not a conspiracy theory when just about everyone agrees that didn't look right. Speaking of the Kennedy assassination, but the big debate surrounding the Patty Hearst kidnapping was she a willing participant or was she actually kidnapped? And I believe here's my take on the Patty Hearst situation. And as I said, I've read a book, I've seen the movies, I've watched documentaries. I'm kind of very interested in that story for some reason. And it was on this day in 1974 when it went down. Patty Hearst, for those of you who don't know, she was the daughter of Randolph Hearst, who was the son of William Randolph Hearst, who they were like the Rupert Murdochs of their time. They like owned all the newspapers in America. Not all of them, but they owned, quite a bit. They were media titans back in the day when there was only three kinds of media: newspapers, television, and radio. And the Hearsts were a very wealthy family. Citizen Kane is based, supposedly. Well, not supposedly. I mean, I think it's pretty much etched in stone at this point, but it was based on William Randolph Hearst. Citizen Kane portrayed someone very similar to William Randolph Hearst. So she was this rich girl in San Francisco, this heiress to this very prominent, very important American family, and some rabble rousers. They called themselves the Symbionese Liberation Army, but really they were just a bunch of dirtbag troublemakers. They were just, I'm not even entirely certain what they were fighting for. Sin Kay was their leader. His name was Donald. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. He went by Sin Kay, and they broke into her apartment. She was living with her fiance at the time, and they broke into her apartment, and they beat up the fiance, and they dragged her out, and they kept her hostage for a long, long time. The way they treated her, I mean, well, she was a hostage. She lived in a closet, and she was bombarded by audio tapes 24/7 of the terrible things that her family has done and her family has been responsible for. I mean, everything from starting wars to, just terrible stuff. And that's where the whole Stockholm syndrome idea came in, that she was at some point just brainwashed. She was convinced by her captors that her family was terrible. And then she eventually participated in a bank robbery. She was caught on camera pointing a gun at people, looking, and then look on her face, man. You look at her face in the bank robbery. She didn't look like she was a kidnapped victim. She looked like she was an active participant in what was happening. Then the FBI, this was a big thing. The FBI got involved because it was an important person's daughter. If it was your daughter or my daughter, the FBI would be like, yeah, we're looking, leave it alone. But because it was an important person's daughter, it turned into a big nationwide manhunt that went on for a very long time. They moved her around. They moved her to Pennsylvania, then they moved her to Ohio, then back to Cal. She was eventually rescued in a big shootout between police and the Symbionese Liberation Army. I believe that all the main people in the SLA died, but she was rescued and then arrested. She was rescued and then arrested because the narrative changed from her being a kidnapped victim to being one of these terrorists, one of these bank robbing terrorists. She went to jail. She, crazy story though. It's a very good movie that was made in the early 90s about it, starring Natasha Richardson as Patty Hearst. Natasha Richardson was, of course, the wife of Liam Neeson, who died in a skiing accident. Not Liam Neeson, but Natasha Richardson. She died in a skiing accident a few years ago. It was very sad. She died, and she was in a brain damage coma for a while, and finally they decided to just end her. But she Natasha Richardson, it's the only role that I really can think of that she did, but she was an actress and she played her. It's a good movie. If you ever get a chance to see it, I think it's called Patty Hearst. I think whatever, but it's good. It's interesting. really tells the story of how insane that whole situation was. On this day in 1974, Patty Hearst kidnapped in Berkeley, California. On this day in 1977, this is another news story that I remember vividly. I was like 7, 8 years old at this time. On this day in 1977, a Chicago Transit Authority elevated train rear ends another and derails, killing 11 people and injuring 180, the worst accident in the agency's history. Now, why I remember this? Because I used to ride that train. Like that was a train that I enjoyed. In Chicago, our downtown train is sort of a combination. At some points, it's a subway, and at some points, it's an elevated train, which is tracks that are above the roads. So you drive underneath the train tracks, and the trains fell off the tracks onto the road below. And I recall this picture of these trains just hanging off the tracks, like, and people died. It was terrible. And I was only like 7 or 8 years old, but I vividly remember watching that on the news that night and just staring at it and going, oh my God, I ride that train. 1977, the CTA train accident. On this day in 2004, Facebook. Happy birthday, Facebook. Facebook, the social networking site, is founded by Mark Zuckerberg and Eduardo Saverin. I don't know nothing ever happened with those two guys. Actually, Eduardo Saverin, I don't know what he's doing. Actually, I do. I clicked on it. He's like a big investor. He lives in Singapore now. But Zuckerberg, of course, became Zuckerberg, who is hated by all. I think everybody pretty much agrees that Zuckerberg sucks. On this day, we had a couple of plane crashes. We like to make note of all the commercial airline disasters because I do believe that a commercial airline disaster has occurred on every single day of the year between 1945 and 2000. Let's see here. Trans-Asia Airways Flight 235 with 58 people on board. Taiwanese capital of Taipei crashes into the Keelung River just after takeoff, killing 43 people. And in 1966, Nippon Airways Flight 60 plunges into the Tokyo Bay. So there you go. A couple of commercial airline disasters, both involving water, both involving Asian air carriers. Birthdays on this day. Let's see here. Let's get into this. Born on this day in 1947. Happy birthday, former Vice President, the pride of Indiana, Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle was W. Bush's. H.W. Herbert Walker. He was Herbert. He was Grandpa Bush. He was the first President Bush's vice president. And I don't know, boy, he was sort of like the male Sarah Palin. The way Sarah Palin was treated when she was on the ticket with John McCain is very reminiscent to the way that Dan Quayle was treated the entire time that he was vice president of the United States. He came from a privileged family. There were some questions about how good his brain worked. There were a lot of questions about whether or not this guy was qualified to be one step away from the presidency. He seemed to have been a gentleman who was handed everything in life and never really had to struggle for much. And so he was, as I said, much maligned. Couldn't spell potato. That's like his big famous incident. He was standing in front of a bunch of school kids doing just, like a vice presidential meet and greet kind of a deal. And he tried to spell potato on a big chalkboard, and he spelt it wrong. And one of the kids told him that he was wrong. And then, of course, he argued with the kid. Like, no, that's not wrong. That's right. And it was very embarrassing for him because already people were like, Dan Quayle's dumb. And it turns out he can't even spell potato. Also born on this day in 1948. I don't know, the grandfather of goth rock. Is that what we would call him? Alice Cooper, the pride of Phoenix. Alice Cooper, born on this day in 1948. Alice Cooper, we talked about this a couple of months ago. This is something that he doesn't get any publicity for. He's been doing this for years. Alice Cooper operates, funds a homeless shelter and a food kitchen in Phoenix, and it's one of the largest in the country. And every Sunday Alice Cooper works the food line and he's been doing this for years. And it's not like, most people, it just so happened that there was a picture of him trending because some homeless person getting free food who still has a phone and a Twitter account, took a picture of him. And he didn't look good, but he's an older guy. And I think we expect Alice Cooper to look a certain way, but yeah, there he was, Alice Cooper, just with a hairnet on, and he was feeding the homeless people. That's pretty great, especially since he doesn't seem to actively look for any credit for it. But every Sunday for the past 3 years, that's what he does. He may not go to church, but he wakes up every Sunday and he goes and he feeds people. So there you go. Another interesting thing about Alice Cooper, we talked the other day about this tremendous epics documentary series called Laurel Canyon, about all of these music acts between like 1965 and 1975 that lived in Laurel Canyon. Those are in the Hollywood Hills above Sunset Boulevard. And it was everybody. It was everybody from, the Beach Boys to Frank Zappa to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young to Jackson Brown to Carole King to Joni Mitchell. Everybody, like all the people who were making music out of Southern California at that time, all like lived in the same neighborhood in Laurel Canyon. And these are not like mansions. Oh, they are now, because I went back and I did Google Earth and I was looking through the neighborhood in Laurel Canyon where all these people lived, and they're all new mansions. They knocked down all of the little like shabby houses and stuff that all these artists were living in and working in. Anyway, Alice Cooper, right in the middle of all of these singer-songwriters and folk people, and you dropped Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper lived in Laurel Canyon during this time, and he talked about how he used to participate in ping pong tournaments over at Peter Tork's house. Peter Tork of the Monkees used to play in ping pong tournaments, and it'd be him and David Crosby and John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. And oh boy, did they have a good time. And the thing is that, this is what artists do. If you're a music fan, you listen to this and you say, well, how the hell would Alice Cooper and Stephen Stills have anything in common, right? Well, they were artists. They were creatives. They didn't judge each other's work. They just appreciated the chemistry. So that was, I thought that was interesting, that of all of the bands that were documented in the Epics documentary series Laurel Canyon, Alice Cooper was dropped right in the middle of it. Happy birthday, Alice Cooper. Born on this day. And, I could have mentioned, well, this will become clear in a second. I don't know why I want to mention it's Hunter Biden's birthday. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who's like mega maligned. I do, however, always get a kick out of when Donald Trump Jr. goes out. Donald Trump Jr. has kind of made Hunter Biden his project. Like Donnie, just focus on Hunter Biden. And almost all of Donald Trump Jr.'s tweets or slams on Hunter Biden is how he's benefiting from his father's position. Folks, that's called projection. That's called lacking self-awareness. Donald Trump Jr. Takes shots at Hunter Biden because Hunter Biden apparently trades off of his father's successes. Okay, all right. We're just gonna accept that, Don Jr. We're just gonna go with that as being a totally normal tweet. No one's got any questions for Don Jr. about his position that children of successful men shouldn't be trading off their father's success. Okay, all right, we'll move on, Don Jr. But here's why I mentioned it's Hunter Biden's birthday, because yesterday was Beau Biden's birthday. Beau Biden is the other son who died. And I didn't mention it was Beau Biden's birthday for the same reason I don't really get into any of this political stuff. But I mentioned Hunter today because isn't that weird? Two brothers born exactly 1 year and 1 day apart. You know how close these two brothers 1 year apart were to having the same birthday? That's weird. You got to give Joe Biden credit. He was organized. He was on a schedule. He knew exactly when he wanted to produce children. Born on this day in 1971, one of my favorite under-the-radar performers, Rob Corddry. 1971, American actor, producer, screenwriter. Rob Corddry first burst on the scene as a very funny, and this is so hard to do. It's like, all right, Pugs, Daily Show correspondent drafts. Well, I think Stephen Colbert would have to be number one in the Daily Show correspondent drafts. Then Rob Corddry. Rob Corddry was so funny. Oh, and then there's the other guy, the guy that's still doing it, the tall guy. Oh God, he's funny. I don't know. I can't remember the names. I don't watch Daily Show as much as I used to. But Rob Corddry started on the Daily Show. Then, of course, he co-starred with The Rock on the HBO series Ballers as sort of the financial guy, his Dwayne Johnson's buddy, who was the financial end of their sports management business. But then, a favorite of my kid and mine, Hot Tub Time Machine. Rob Corddry and Hot Tub Time Machine, which... the title suggests that nobody should ever watch that movie because it just seems so stupid. But Hot Tub Time Machine is funny. Me and my kid, we've been watching Hot Tub Time Machine for years now. We love that. Rob Corddry is one of the funniest under-the-radar guys out there acting in films. At some point, I'm hoping that Rob Corddry becomes a much bigger star because he is terrific. Born on this day in 1973, American boxer Oscar De La Hoya. Happy birthday, Oscar De La Hoya. Born on this day in 1975, I mentioned this just because it's a personal choice of mine. Natalie Imbruglia. God, I had such a crush on Natalie Imbruglia. She had one song. She's an Australian singer. She had one song back in the mid to late 90s called Torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. Whatever. Good song. That song's still a banger. It's on one of my Spotify playlists. It's that song still, you don't hear it very much. As a matter of fact, that song comes on my Spotify playlist. I call it Q101 days. That playlist of days when I worked at this alternative rock station in Chicago. And Natalie Imbruglia's Torn goes right into Meredith Brooks' Bitch, which is kind of a nice little banger thing. There's two little chicks. It was commercial alternative rock back in the era when alternative rock decided that they wanted to be more mainstream. So they started doing a little bit less of the scary Seattle stuff and more of the beautiful singer-songwriter kind of thing. Meredith Brooks. I'm a bitch. I'm a lover, baby. Good songs. Good songs, overplayed in their time, but like 25 years later, it comes on. You're like, yeah, okay, I see why this song was a hit. Natalie Imbruglia came into our studios and gave an interview back in like 1997, 1996, something like that. Remember in the Monkees when like Davy Jones would see someone that he falls in love with instantly and it's just like the hearts in his eyes? That's how I was with Natalie Imbruglia. Oh my God. Go. And then she started to talk and she had this little wafy Australian accent. Oh my God, are you kidding me? What does Natalie Imbruglia look like today? How's she holding together? I imagine you don't. And she wasn't like a sex bomb. That's not her deal. Like she was just like so cute. Let's see what Natalie Imbruglia is looking like today. Oh my God, she's still adorable. She is still adorable. Yep, that's her. Okay, so happy birthday, Natalie Imbruglia. How old is she today? This is how I feel. Oh God, her Wikipedia page picture is just so adorable. She's 47 years old. Natalie Imbruglia. My God, she was so cute. See, and there was a differential. Like Pam Anderson back in 1997 was hot. That was hot. That conjured all kinds of like nasty kind of intentions. Natalie Imbruglia, you wanted to wake up in the morning and make her pancakes. It's a totally different kind of vibe. Totally different kind of thing with Natalie Imbruglia. Also born on this day in 1977, a guy whose name I know, a guy who I do not know anything about, Gavin Degraw. What is Gavin Degraw? What does he sing? Is he a singer? I don't know who Gavin Degraw. I know that he's a singer. It says here, American singer and songwriter. Couldn't name one Gavin Degraw tune. I don't know. Maybe like if I heard, like if you played a song, I go, oh, I know that song. Well, that's Gavin Degraw. Okay. So now I know a Gavin Degraw tune. I don't know. Also born on this day, the pride of Allen, Texas, Carly Patterson. She was born in 1988. Carly Patterson is an American gymnast and singer, it says. I met Carly Patterson at an appearance once. We did an appearance somewhere, or I don't know. I don't even know what it was. Like car toys, something like that. And she was also doing the appearance. It was like me and this like Olympic little 15-year-old. She's very nice. You know, I was my man in my 30s. I didn't really spend a whole lot of time around her, but she was very nice. So happy birthday to you, Carly Patterson. Born on this day in 1988. We got a couple of deaths that we should mention. A couple of fairly big ones. Born on this day, or died on this day in 1983. Karen Carpenter, Karen of the Carpenters. Now, the Carpenters haven't really stood the test of time. So if you're a youngster, if you were born like in the 90s, and you probably don't know who the Carpenters were. It was a brother and sister singer or songwriter team. They were huge in the 70s, massive. And then Karen Carpenter starved herself to death. She was one of the first. I'll put it this way. I don't think I had ever heard of anorexia until Karen Carpenter died of anorexia. And I remember seeing a documentary about Karen Carpenter, about what she's very highly regarded in the music world. She's considered someone who was just supremely talented, beautiful voice. But I remember watching how awful her life was. I mean, she just, my goodness, she couldn't enjoy anything. She couldn't eat food. She didn't want to eat food. She was addicted to syrup of ipecac, the stuff that makes you vomit. So I know the Pugs, that's bulimia. That's not anorexia. Well, her death certificate says anorexia, regardless. She was addicted to laxatives and syrup of ipecac. And she used to do this thing. She would go out to dinner. She had all these obligations. So she would have to go out to dinner with all of these people. And she would order a meal. And she would cut her meal up into like 50 tiny little pieces. And then people said that it was irritating the way she did this. She would cut her food up into a million little pieces, and then one by one, she would encourage all the people that she's eating dinner with to take a piece so that she didn't have to eat it all. People said they never saw her eat. They said that she was in 19, something that I read this morning on this. In 1980, she weighed 89 pounds. Oh my God. And she was 6'5". No, I'm kidding. She was, but that, oh boy. Well, she had a wonderful voice. On this day in 1983, Karen Carpenter died. On this day, 4 years later in 1987, Liberace died of melon ball poisoning. That's right. That's right. That was the official. Don't pretend like the media is just lying to us now. That was bullshit. He died of AIDS. He died of complications from AIDS. That's written history at this point. But in 1987, when Liberace died, it wasn't acceptable to admit that this flamboyant, never married, extremely, dare I say, effeminate, grown-ass man could be gay. So there was absolutely no discussion of that. And it was melon ball. He ate some bad melon, and it killed him. That was literally the story that they tried to float initially, that he died of melon ball poisoning. He was an interesting guy. They made an HBO movie with, wasn't Mark Wahlberg. It was Matt Damon and Michael Douglas, who played, Michael Douglas played Liberace, and Matt Damon played Scott Thorson, who was his secret lover for all those years. This is a great movie. It's such a Behind the Candelabra was what that movie was called. Very, very entertaining movie. They were so good. Michael Douglas and who did I say it was? Matt Damon. They were so good in that and so fascinating. Liberace. Everybody's grandma loved Liberace back in the 80s. He died on this day in 1987 and also dead on this day in 2006. Boy, you think these women are uppity today. Let me tell you, ground zero for these uppity women that they want their rights. They think that they're every bit as qualified as a man for things. You know who you can blame for that? A woman who died on this day in 2006, Betty Friedan. Betty Friedan. She was a feminist. She was an activist. Most notably, she was an author. She wrote the book in the 1960s, The Feminine Mystique. The Feminine Mystique is considered ground zero for the modern feminist movement. Everybody from Gloria Steinem, everybody, all of them rabble-rousing women, they cite the Feminine Mystique as being the origin story for their empowerment and for their feminist activism. Died on this day in 2006. Betty Friedan. Okay, what is today? Let's find out what today is. What's happening on this day? Why are we celebrating today? Let's see here. It is Bubblegum Day. Well, my kid will be happy. He celebrates Bubblegum Day every day. This kid is just like, he's constantly got bubblegum in his mouth. He just loves bubblegum. I don't think I've had bubblegum in 20 years. It's also National Wear Red Day. That's also trending. It's National Wear Red Day. You're supposed to wear red today to show that you care about heart disease. But then there's another thread going that says it's about cancer. So I don't know. But I don't have any red. I was thinking about this earlier when I saw it trending. I'm like, do I have any red? Do you want to be a lemming? You just want to dress because they're telling you got to wear the... So I don't have anything red. I'm trying to think. No, I don't. I have a shirt that has some red in it, but you wouldn't call it a red shirt. You would call it a heavily blue, gray, green plaid shirt with some red highlights. So go ahead, get out there. If you support heart disease, go heart disease. If you support heart disease, it's National Wear Red Day. National Create a Vacuum Day. What does that mean? What you mean, like build a Hoover? What am I, that Dyson guy? I'm supposed to try and build. What do I got? Take the coffee pot apart? Well, how am I going to create a National Creative Vacuum Day on February 4th? Explores spaces void of matter. On this day, we are challenged to create one. All right, shut up, man. I don't know what that hippy dippy bullshit is about. Speaking of, it's National Hemp Day. Hemp. Hey, man, hemp is so much more sturdy than rope. You need to legalize hemp. Remember that? Remember when everybody was like, legalize hemp, man? Because they thought that was like some sort of entree into legalizing marijuana. It's National Hemp Day. If hemp was legitimately a better product for mass commercialization, hemp would be in everything. But it's not. It's not. I know. Hey, man, you don't know your job. Shut up. It's not. Hemp has been around for centuries. And the fact that somebody hasn't decided that they can make more money creating things out of hemp, that just shows you, if there's a dime to be made in hemp, hemp would be everywhere. Stop it. No, man, you don't know what you're talking about. Hemp. Shut up. Just admit that you just want weed. That's what this is about. Stop forcing hemp awareness down our throats. It's National Homemade Soup Day. I'm going to make some homemade soup tonight. And my kid likes my homemade, we call it Okinawan soup. It's like a Japanese, it's a mixture of two different kinds of Japanese soups. You mean ramen? Okay, ramen noodles are a base, but it's all about the roux. It's all about, the cooking of the vegetable. Just stop it. Stop. It's just, I made a cool soup and my kid loves it. Let me have it. It's just ramen, folks. It's basically just ramen with a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, but then it ceases to be ramen. If it was just ramen, then yeah, it would be ramen. But it's not just ramen. It's the ramen noodles because I choose those noodles because I think that they're the best. I do. I love ramen noodles. I make spaghetti with ramen noodles. A brick of ramen. Ramen noodles are just superior. They're First of all, I like angel hair. So I like a thinner noodle. I like a smaller noodle. But ramen is great. And they're like, 24 cents a thing? A little brick of ramen noodles is like 24 cents. You can buy a whole bunch of them. And I've got this thing in my kitchen here where it's just a stack of the powders, that come with the ramen, because I don't use the powders. I just use the noodles. I don't use the chicken bouillon, I guess, or the beef bouillon or whatever. And I just noticed I'm doing that a lot because it's, that's how you stop it. I got a lot on my mind today, folks. I got very stressed out. Got a whole bunch going on. Today is also National Thank a Mail Carrier Day. So there you go. Be nice to your mail carriers, especially today. It's cold. I bet you our mail carrier is wearing shorts today. I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with the guy who delivers mail here because he was wearing shorts and it was like 40. And I'm like, you're still wearing shorts. You got to put some long pants on. He's like, nope, I don't even own long pants. I just wear shorts. I wear shorts I can't wait. I don't think I'm going to see him because I got a lot of running around to do today. But I wonder if he's wearing shorts today. Yeah, today's one of those rough days if you're trying to go out wearing shorts. What is it now? What is the temperature here in North Texas at the moment? Let's see. Let's see what it is in sunny, balmy North Texas. 30 degrees. All right, it's 30. It's not terrible out. It was like 18 last night. And they actually, first time that I think I've ever seen this in Texas. Maybe they've always done it, but I never noticed it before. But there was actually a wind chill yesterday. Like it said it was 19 degrees, but with the wind chill, it was 6 last night. All right, very cool. Let's go into what's trending here, because that's really the bulk of what we're supposed to be doing on this noon show. The Olympics start tonight, and boy, well, it looks like, there are a bunch of Olympic athletes who are boycotting the opening ceremonies because of the whole China sucks deal. It's like China is hosting the Olympics, Beijing. And so a whole bunch of Western affiliated athletes from around the globe. How can it be around the globe if it's just Western athlete? You're right. I'm sorry. I used too many words there and I shouldn't have said that. But like American, Canadian, English, French, a whole bunch of these people, athletes are refusing to participate. They are boycotting the opening ceremonies. So in solidarity with them, I will be boycotting the opening ceremonies. Miss me with that nonsense. I would like to be able to say that I am in solidarity with them over the treatment of Hong Kong and, all of these other territories that China seems to be thuggish with. But really, I just don't care. I don't know where it is. I am easily susceptible to hype, and I have not been exposed to any Olympic hype this time around. So I could really care less. Let's see. Also having to do with the Olympics, origin story and COVID are trending right next to each other. This is because here on the day of the opening ceremonies, the Olympic scientists from around the world are urging the true origins of COVID to be released by the Chinese government, and they are claiming that this is something that needs to be done in the vein of Olympic solidarity, where we're all coming together. Now would be the time, China, for you to tell us that you screwed up, that it was you guys. I mean, I think that's settled science for the most part, right? Don't we believe that it started in China? We just don't know how. Now there's a bunch, look, you got the crazy Reddit people and the QAnon people who are like, they did it on purpose. They released it in a lab. This was a plan. To what end? China has suffered as bad as anyone. Well, we don't know for real because they don't release that kind of stuff. But as far as international reports and stuff, this jacked up China's economy just as bad as it did everybody else. And many people are saying even worse because China did stuff that we didn't do. China is a totalitarian government. Their regime just locked people in their houses. I mean, it was more economically impactful on China than we'll probably ever know, because they won't let that sort of information out. But whereas, we just had people working from home, they just didn't have people working. First of all, they're not that electronic or digitally savvy there where people could work from home. Those people are factory workers. Those people work in, they dig ditches. So, I mean, whatever it was that China was doing, they just shut that shit down. Those people were... So I find it difficult, based on all of that, to believe that China did it on purpose. China did it because they're incompetent. That's the reason. They screwed up. A monkey got out of a cage somewhere and had sex with a something. And then that thing ended up in one of those Chinese wet markets, and all hell broke loose. But this idea, this QAnon conspiracy that this was China's stage one to try and take over the world. By what? By crashing their own economy? I don't get that. They screwed up. They're incompetent. They're embarrassed to admit that they're incompetent, and that's why they're not saying anything. And because, the rest of the world has a right to be pissed at their incompetence. So there you go. A bunch of scientists are urging China to tell us exactly what the hell is happening there. Kerrville, Texas is trending today. Kerrville. Where's Kerrville? Kerrville's like it's not in North Texas. Isn't it like one of those places that are sort of between like San Antonio and Austin? I think. I don't know. Whatever. It's down there somewhere. Kerrville, Texas is trending because Texas drivers have been stranded on a road there, I-10, for 14 hours due to icy conditions. How this thing started was a big 18-wheel. It always starts with an 18-wheeler screwing up. That's how these things always begin. An 18-wheeler jackknifed and wrecked the road, and there you have it. So now people have been stuck out there for 14 hours. And it's cold, and their gas is running out. Here we go. What else is trending today? Book burning. There is a book burning. And we got some kooky, crazy Tennessee pastor. It's always these guys. It's always these non-affiliated pastors who create all the trouble. Nashville, Tennessee, a Middle Tennessee pastor held a burning of books and other materials on Wednesday night, citing the church's biblical right to burn cultic materials that they deem are a threat to their religious rights and freedoms and beliefs. You people don't read. How can a book that you won't read be a threat to your religious rights? Seriously, think about that. You don't need to burn. What you're doing is imposing your closed-mindedness on other. You're not going to read the books. So why are you burning them? You are burning them to stop other people from reading the book, which means that you are acting in a totalitarian way. Stop it, you dummy. The event took place in Mount Juliet, Tennessee at the Global Vision Bible Church led by Pastor Greg. Oh, I'm sure there's no skeletons in Pastor Greg's closet. The pastor has been no stranger to controversy, calling the COVID-19 Delta variant nonsense, vaccines a form of government control, and the pandemic entirely fake. Okay, there's a lot of people with dead relatives and friends who would disagree with you there, Pastor Greg, but it's nice to see that you're operating in the true spirit of Jesus. The assertions led to a ban of his account on Twitter. In addition, Pastor Locke has criticized Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, Republican Governor Bill Lee, calling the governor a coward and a noodle waffler for an executive order which allowed the National Guard to assist hospitals strained during the heights of the pandemic. So the governor of the state sends in the National Guard to help a bunch of nurses and doctors and orderlies and hospital staff run because they were massively overwhelmed by this fake pandemic. And this man of God thinks that was a bad thing. He thinks that that's an evil deed. Man, what is wrong with some people? And I'm not just talking about him. He's an idiot. The world is full of individual assholes. But what are these people who are showing up and going, yeah, I like what he says. I think he's onto something. I mean, there is absolutely nothing Christ-like in any of the things that I've just read being attributed to good old Pastor Greg. A lot of these guys, a lot of them, not all of them. I'm sure your pastor is great. A lot of these guys are just con men, man. A lot of these guys are just, do you know how many stand-up comedians from the South actually started out thinking they were going to be pastors? Not because they believe in the word of God or anything like that, but just because it was a stage and it was a way to be in front of. Sam Kinison famously was a fire and brimstone pastor. And then, of course, later in life, he's like, yeah, it was just all a bit. I didn't believe any of that. But here's the beauty part. Sam Kinison said this once. You've got an audience that will be completely, when you're a pastor, you never have a bad audience because everybody who is showing up to hear you rant and rave and go on and on, Everybody who is showing up has been indoctrinated to believe that you are somehow superior to them from the time they were born. It's, and that's why, that's why so many performers dabble in the pastor game. And that's why so many pastors are really just performers who couldn't make it in the way that they wanted to. So they decided, well, this is an easy audience. You're telling me I can be guaranteed a good, favorable audience every time I go on stage, and I'll get the applause and I'll get the attention and I'll get the love that I crave. Because honestly, that's truly what performers need. Says a guy doing 2 streams every day on YouTube and Facebook. Let's see here. Now the pastor has turned his ire to books and other materials deemed demonic. During a sermon before the burning, Pastor Locke also targeted the Department of Homeland Security, which he claimed was at the event, saying, Homeland Security showed up to a church because we're going to have a burning. This country's lost its mind. Yeah, it sure has there, Pastor Locke, but not for the reasons that you think it has. During the sermon, Locke stated that burning was an effort to stir it up. Really? Is that your job? I thought your job as a pastor was to console. I thought your job as a pastor was to guide, to advise, to be a positive instrument in the lives of your flock. No, I'm wrong, Pastor Greg. Your job is to stir it up. Okay. Well, we got plenty of people already stirring it up, you asshole. Pastor Locke burning books. Just don't read them, you bastard. You don't read books anyway. Are you kidding me? Come on now. Let's see what else is happening here. Oh, this is kind of fun. Yee is trending. For those of you who don't know who Yee is, it's Kanye West. Used to be Kanye West. Now it's Yee. He's trending. Kanye is he's always been a weird guy, right? He's a genius, Pugs. Well, okay, I guess musically, in a specific realm of music, a lot of people do believe that he's a genius. I like his music. I really do. I don't like him. I think that he needs some serious help. So of course it's been a year now since Kim Kardashian filed for divorce, and this divorce is going to take a while because he does not seem to be willing to let it go. He's squiring around the actress model Julia Fox, just treating her like absolute garbage while she's giving interviews going, he loves me, we'll be together forever. And then he's in the next room giving an interview where he's like, Kim, please come back. I hate this girl I'm with. Well, he only says that because, he's a showman. And shut up, Julia. So you should be humiliated, Julia Fox. This is not a good look for you. But why is Yee trending? He is trending because Kim Kardashian pushes back at Kanye West after rapper claims his daughter North is on TikTok against my will. So this is something that I assume is pretty common. Like when is it appropriate for your child to step into the world of social media? For me and my kid, the later the better. College, you want to start doing it in college, that's fine. 18 plus. I don't think social media should be a place for anybody under 18. I don't. Well, you try and stop a 16-year-old girl from having an Instagram. I don't want to try it. I'm just telling you what I think. I know that it's going to be difficult. At this point, my kid doesn't have a Facebook. He doesn't have an Instagram. He doesn't have a TikTok. He doesn't have Twitter. He doesn't have any of that. Although yesterday he hacked into my Twitter because he knows my password, which is troubling. I didn't know that he knew my password, but he figured it out. He figured it out. He's not stupid. I'll give him that. He put a couple of context clues together and was able to figure out what my password was. And he posted a promotion of a YouTuber that he really likes on my Twitter feed yesterday, and I talked about it last night. I saw this thing on my Twitter feed, and it says that I posted it, and I'm like, I don't remember posting that. And I was really concerned for a minute because I'm like, that was just posted an hour ago. How do I not remember something I did an hour ago? Oh my God, is this how it starts? And then I realized, I went, oh, okay. All right. See, I wouldn't. I like this person that is being promoted on my feed, but I wouldn't have, done that on Twitter. And so I put it together because I like my son. I can put context clues, and I called him. I'm like, dude, did you post something on my Twitter? He's like, yeah, I promoted Johnny Vitti. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I just needed to know that it was you, and don't do that anymore. Okay. But I mean, it's not like he didn't do anything bad. This guy named Johnny Vitti on Twitter is somebody, or Facebook is somebody that we like. He's a Chicago-based sketch comedy guy. Improv, one of these young guys will probably be on Saturday Night Live in a couple of years, but he's really funny. And he does a lot of, my son and I are Chicago sports fans, and a lot of his videos are about Chicago sports teams, about, he does stuff like, every dad at a Little League game, it'll be a video of him portraying, drunken dads at Little League. It's funny. He's funny, but I think he's very regional. I think you have to be from there to appreciate it. He does Cubs fans versus Sox fans and stuff like that. So my son was promoting him, but he's not allowed to be on any of these social medias. So I guess he's taken to just hacking into mine. Kanye doesn't want his daughter on TikTok. She's 8 years old. Am I crazy for agreeing with a parental decision made by Kanye West? Because I think he's right. Kim Kardashian, however, she's a Kardashian, so you got to start them young. You got to start them young in the public sphere, I guess. Kim Kardashian released a fiery statement in response to her estranged husband Kanye West's claim that their daughter Northwest is on TikTok. Against my will, Kanye says. The hip-hop artist took to Instagram on Friday and shared a screenshot of the 8-year-old on the video sharing platform. Kanye posted, "Since this is my first divorce, I need to know what I should do about my daughter being put on TikTok against my will." The 44-year-old captioned the image. A spokesperson for Kim Kardashian gave Fox News the following statement from Kim herself. Are you ready? Are you ready for what Kim has to say? Kanye's constant attacks on me in interviews and on social media is actually more hurtful than any TikTok North might create, she wrote. As a parent who is the main provider and caregiver for our children, I am doing my best to protect our daughter while also allowing her to express her creativity in the medium that she wishes with adult supervision because it brings her happiness. Divorce is difficult enough, Kim goes on to say. Divorce is difficult enough on our children, and Kanye's obsession with trying to control and manipulate our situation so negatively and publicly is only causing further pain for all. From the beginning, I have wanted nothing but a healthy and supportive co-parenting relationship because it is what is best for our children, and it saddens me that Kanye continues to make it impossible every step of the way. I wish to handle all matters regarding our children privately, and hopefully he can finally respond to the third attorney he has had in the last year to resolve any issues amicably, Ms. Kardashian concluded in her statement. A spokesperson for West, also known as Yee, did not respond to a request for comment. So, he's just looking for anything. Oddly enough, this particular lament on the part of Kanye West is something that I actually think there is some substance there. I think that is a legit concern. However, I believe his motivation was to just make it public so that he could have another opportunity to talk about, Kim, come back to me. She's done. That's what I love about this. Kim and I, old friends, we go way back. Kim is done with him. Like, she has moved on. She now sees the error of her ways, but he just cannot give it up. He's just, as the kids say, Kanye is a simp. All right, so that's why Kanye is trending today. Mark Cuban, our very own Mark Cuban, is trending today. He's trending for a couple of reasons. People are talking about the pharmaceutical companies that he's starting. Mark Cuban is doing what I believe to be a truly great thing. He's starting a pharmaceutical company where the drugs are going to all be super affordable. And they're going to focus on the drugs that Americans need most, that typically are difficult to get because of pricing and all that kind of stuff. So that's a good thing. But this other reason is funnier. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban has been pretty successful during his tenure as a shot caller in the Big D, winning an NBA championship in 2011 and appearing in another finals in 2006. Cuban is also a successful businessman and has even become a bit of a television star on the back of his reality TV show Shark Tank. But it's true that no matter how successful someone is, the misses always hit harder than the successful deals you've made. Admittedly, for Cuban, one of his most significant losses came last year when he traded away Seth Curry to the Philadelphia 76ers. Cuban was asked about that deal recently during a Q&A session with students from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business. Let's see here. He was a student asked to Mark Cuban, so it's been about a year since Seth Curry was traded away to the 76ers for Josh Richardson and Tyler Bay. As someone who's in Philly now, I have to ask, Mark, looking back on this trade, how do you think it went? And should the Mavs have kept Seth Curry? Mark Cuban responded, I hate you. Next question. So, you know. Is Richardson even on the team anymore? I don't. And Seth Curry, although Seth Curry is not his big brother Steph Curry. Seth Curry is a whale of a role player there in Philadelphia. I was really impressed. I watched him playing against the Bulls a couple of weeks back, and he had a lights out game. And I'm like, man, the little brother is absolutely balling out. And he's put together a really nice season. Got to be his best season so far. And yeah, I suppose that a Seth Curry in the backcourt there. I mean, think of what Luka would be able to do with a perimeter shooter. A guy having a season like Seth Curry is having with he's got to be shooting 50%. He's like a lights out shooter now. He's and Cuban's whole thing was. Shut up. Next question. Let's see here. I'm sure Cuban, it goes on to say, I'm sure Cuban would give pretty much anything to take that trade back and still have Curry's sharpshooting ability on his roster to help Luka. There you go. The Mavs are hanging tough and actually playing some defense now under new head coach Jason Kidd. Okay, we don't need to go into all of that. But yeah, that's funny. That's why Mark Cuban is trending, because he told a Wharton School of Business kid to shut up when the kid brought up the Seth Curry trade. Seth Curry, yeah. It's hard. You get confused, Steph. No, I mean, not that you would get confused seeing them. One is obviously one of the best playing the game today, and the other one is a surprise. And Seth is the surprise. Doug Peterson is trending. Doug Peterson has been hired as head coach by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Peterson, not a black guy, but that's okay. Doug Peterson, they say that Jags wanted him all along. All along, this is who we want. Really? It took you a while to hire him. What do you mean? What do you mean you wanted him all along? Gina Carano is also trending. Gina Carano is trending because she's very upset that ABC Disney, who runs or operates as the Death Star hovering over The View, suspended Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks. Now, she's not upset that she was suspended or that she got in trouble. She is upset that she only got suspended because Gina Carano is now claiming a double standard at Disney. Gina Carano was a side player on the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. She wasn't a big star, but she was in a couple of episodes. And the belief was that she would be sort of a recurring character on the show. Gina Carano, by the way, she's a former MMA fighter, female MMA fighter, turned actress. She does a lot of karate movies and stuff like that. Not that she's not going to win an Oscar, but she does. I think wasn't she in the Expendables? I think she was in the Expendables, but she also does, a bunch of other like low budget kind of karate movies. She was not a good MMA fighter. She was not a good MMA fighter at all. Here's why she became famous. 10, 15 years ago when she was fighting MMA, she was like the first attractive female MMA fighter. So they promoted the hell out of her. It wasn't based on ability. It wasn't anything like that. They just promoted the hell out of Gina Carano. And, she got her ass whooped by a bunch of women who were actually, better fighters. And then she used that fame and that platform of being promoted by the UFC and whoever was promoting her. I'm not even sure she was a UFC fighter, but she used that to sort of get into acting, and good for her, more power to her. Gina Carano has carved out a little bit of a career for herself as a badass ass-kicking woman, even if her MMA credentials are a bit suspect. But she glass ceiling, glass ceiling for hot chicks who fight, right? She proved that people would tune in to watch her. But she was fired from The Mandalorian. She wasn't suspended like Whoopi Goldberg was. Gina Carano was fired from The Mandalorian and not allowed to be in any more episodes because she did some, I don't know, I don't even know exactly what it was that she says or that she did. It's something, I don't know. I don't know if it had to do with COVID or the Holocaust or whatever, but it was something. Gina Carano tweeted, "I want to send blessings and love out to the Jewish community. When I was being smeared, canceled, and misunderstood, it was a Jewish man, Ben Shapiro, who reached out and asked if I'd like to talk about it. Maybe Whoopi Goldberg could talk to Ben." Conversation over cancellation, which is a nice thought. Let me see here if I can find out what Carano said. Carano, who had previously been fired by Lucasfilm over political posts connected to the Holocaust. Okay. Just don't anybody. Okay, we've been through this. Don't talk about the Holocaust. Stop it. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out what it is exactly that she said, just so we can get some context. One post that Carano made commented on Jewish people being attacked in the streets during the Nazi Germany era. The post suggested that Nazi attacks on Jews was the same thing as how people who refuse to wear a mask are being treated. Okay, so nothing really. But let's be honest, the Whoopi Goldberg thing wasn't really anything big either. It's just a game of gotcha, where we get you, we got you, we get you, we got you. So Gina Carano's whole argument is that, because let's just agree that both of them said fairly innocuous things. They didn't say the Holocaust didn't happen or Hitler had some good idea. They didn't say stuff like that. It was just mob justice, mob outrage, online mob. They got them. They come for you. You say anything that they think they can smell blood, it's like a bunch of sharks. They come get you. So when Gina Carano said her thing that wasn't really all that terrible, at least when you think about the things that other people are saying, she was fired. Lucasfilm said, yeah, we don't want any of that. And then Disney was like, yeah, she can't work for Disney anymore. We don't want any of that. And then here, just this past week, Whoopi Goldberg on The View says something also, okay, Whoopi Goldberg was wrong. She was half right. She was trying to make a greater point about the Holocaust being an example of man's inhumanity to man. And in that, she sort of sidestepped or even diminished, in some people's view, the role that the Jews played in that. The Jews were actually targeted. And she said, I don't want to talk about that. It's about man's humanity to man. It wasn't a race issue. She says that. So Whoopi Goldberg has been fired. And Gina Carano is now, Whoopi Goldberg was suspended for 2 weeks, whereas Gina Carano was fired. And Gina Carano is saying that that's a double standard. And I'm sorry, Gina, that is not what a double standard is. It would be a double standard if you were on the same level as Whoopi Goldberg. Nobody knows who you are, Gina Carano. People hearing your name right now are going, wait, why do I know that name? Whereas everybody knows who Whoopi Goldberg is. Is it right? Is it wrong that there are two different punishments doled out for essentially the same thing? No, but when you are someone of the stature of Whoopi Goldberg, she's an EGOT. She's one of them EGOTs. There's only like 5 EGOTs on the planet, and she's one of them. EGOT is she's won an Emmy, she's won a Grammy, she's won an Oscar, she's won a Tony. There's only you've not even won a belt in a lesser MMA. So Gina, with all due respect, I could see why it would be irritating, but it comes down to money, honey. You do not make the money for Lucas. You don't make the money for Disney. Whoopi Goldberg, I don't know if she makes money either, but she's more high profile and people know who she is. And there are more people who, firing Whoopi Goldberg would have been a big deal. Firing you was not a big deal at all. Firing you was easy. You were just an easy target. Who is this girl? Get rid of her. I don't want to put up with this. You fire Whoopi Goldberg, and there's going to be a whole bunch of Whoopi Goldberg heads going, you can't do. The uproar would have been crazy because people like Whoopi Goldberg. I'm not saying look, I am not taking sides here. I am simply just trying to break down the difference in what is it right? I don't know. It depends on your point of view. Is money the most important thing? Because there is more money to be made by Disney off the back and sweat of Whoopi Goldberg than there is off of you, Gina Carano. So you were fired because they didn't need you, and they feel differently about Whoopi. They feel like they need her. She makes money for them. She generates. I guess she's popular on The View. As I said, I don't watch The View, but it's a calculation. It's a money calculation. Is it fair? I don't know. It's fair if you think money is the end all be all. Is it fair if we lived in this beautiful, everything should be one way universe? No, then it's not fair. Then everybody's punishment should be the same for relatively same offenses. But that's not where we live. So stop it. Being a snowflake, Gina. You're being a little being to me. You cannot possibly think that you are on the same level of celebrity as Whoopi Goldberg. And that's what this is about. Gina, that's what it's about. Sorry. You're just not. I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong. Build-A-Bear is trending. Build-A-Bear. Build-A-Bear, those little places where kids go. And you spend like $1 million and they make some monstrosity that they've stuck together. It's like, that doesn't look right. Look at the bear I made. All right, let's pay $300 for this bear, or whatever it is. I don't know. I've never been to a Build-A-Bear because I had a boy and he wasn't really into like, let's spend the afternoon building. My kid, that was never the headspace he was operating in. That was never anything that he would have wanted to do. But Build-A-Bear is trending. Who said stuffed animals were just for kids? Ask the Build-A-Bear website. Here's why they're trending. Build-A-Bear is making like porno bears now. Well, that's a bit of an overstatement. Build-A-Bear has introduced a new Build-A-Bear After Dark. It's a new series of teddy bears designed specifically for adults. A concept I'm currently struggling to resolve with my lizard brain. Are these bears supposed to be horny? This is the person who's writing the article. What is this in? Oh, CNET. A Chad teddy bear with a lion's mane and a silk robe lying on a shag carpet with a single rose and 2 glasses of wine is one of the models. It's fairly clear what this teddy bear's intentions are. The Build-A-Bear After Dark concept was announced on its Facebook page earlier this week. It's clearly a Valentine's Day related play. Aren't they? They're just trying to get in on the whole Vermont teddy bear deal, right? And that, like, Vermont Teddy Bear for 30, 40 years now has been advertising exclusively on radio, by the way, around Valentine's Day and, sexy Vermont teddy bears. Get yourself a sexy bear. Get yourself an angel bear. That whole thing. And Build-A-Bear is like, we're probably a bigger name in the bear space than Vermont Teddy Bear. Well, why don't we just kind of push them out? Why don't we just start doing the same thing? So there you have it. I don't know if people are outraged. I bet they are. So people are outraged for, far less than Build-A-Bear going into the sexy, horny bear business. Okay, let me see. What else do we got here? GTA, Grand Theft Auto is trending. Grand Theft Auto is trending because after years of rumors and reports, Rockstar Games has confirmed that it's working on a new Grand Theft Auto game. And the project is well underway, so be expecting more news on Grand Theft Auto 6 coming. Grand Theft Auto 6. We talked about this. It's National Wear Red Day. National Wear Red Day, where red is trending. Today is National Wear Red Day. Rock your red today to raise awareness of heart disease and to promote the importance of heart health. Learn more about how you can keep your heart healthy and strong at hashtag our hearts. Just hashtag our hearts. Amir Locke. This is another one of these troubling things. Amir Locke was murdered. No, don't say murdered. Amir Locke was shot and killed by Minneapolis SWAT team members early Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning? I should do this. I should do this properly. Don't freeball on this one. Make sure you get all the facts out there. So I'll tell you what happened here. The parents of Amir Locke and their attorneys said on Friday that the 22-year-old black man was executed. It's like you want to have sympathy. You want to show compassion for people who have lost a family member, but he wasn't executed. Okay. I've seen the video. We're not going to show the video. The video is out there. The police cam video is, he wasn't executed. He wasn't. The 22-year-old black man was executed by Minneapolis SWAT team that woke him up from a deep sleep, and that he reached in confusion for a legal firearm to protect himself. Now, here's what happened. So the SWAT team was serving an arrest warrant on the property that this dude was staying at, and they burst through the door very early in the morning. SWAT team, down on the floor, that whole thing. And as the body cam footage was released right away. And when the police department releases the body cam footage right away, it's because they're pretty sure that they didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you, I'm going to try not to, boy, these are so difficult. Okay, so I saw the body cam footage. Basically, here's what happened. They bust in through the door. Amir Locke is under covers on the couch. They're demanding that he come out, get on the floor, hands in the air, all those things that they say. And all of a sudden, this dude pulls the covers down off, exposing his head, and he raises his hand at the police. And he's got a gun in his hand. And they shot him. Get on the floor, hands in the air, and this guy, he comes down, the covers, he pulls the covers off, and he's got a gun, and he points the gun at the SWAT team, and they pop. I mean, I try to be as even keeled on all of these stories as I can. I like to look at whatever evidence there is, whatever videos there are, and then I make a decision. And, sometimes I am appalled by what I see. Sometimes they are mistakes made in the heat of the moment by police officers who were panicked. Sometimes they're far more sinister than that. Sometimes they look a lot worse than that. Sometimes they look like, well, that didn't need to happen. This one, he's pointing a loaded handgun at the police when they're telling him to get up. Why do the police have guns? I mean, why are they saying, let me see your hand? This is madness. There is absolutely nothing in the video that I watched that suggests that it's an execution. But, that's what certain people are going to hear, and that's what they're going to run with. Another cop execution. And anybody who, is familiar with me, I am not one of these diehard cops can do no wrong. Man, I know a lot of cops who are serious dicks. I know a lot of cops who should not be cops, but they are. They're hard-ass pricks, and they're just looking to kill somebody. That is an absolute. I will go to my dying grave with that. I know cops who are like that. But I also know a whole bunch of cops who are really good, honest, sincere people who are out there serving their community and have no intention or desire to ever kill anybody in the course of their job. Never. That's a terrible thing. unless it's not. I mean, to me, to my way of thinking, killing another human being is a terrible thing. It is something that should be avoided at all costs. But there's good and there's bad. This situation here, man, he was executed by Minneapolis police. No, you can't use that word. He had a gun, and then they're like, he had a legal firearm to protect himself. Okay, that's what they said. That's what the mother and the attorneys for the family are saying, that he was woken up and executed from a deep sleep because he had reached and pointed in confusion. Well, confusion is irrelevant to this whole story. Confusion is just a really unfortunate side effect. Confusion doesn't play into it. All these cops who were coming through the door saw was someone pointing a loaded handgun at them. Confusion, it doesn't matter. He reached in confusion for a legal firearm to protect himself. That point is also being heavily debated, as a bunch of people are saying that he wasn't legally in possession of that firearm. And there's going to be a press conference about it, apparently. And you don't know what to believe. You don't know what to believe. You read all of these things. People are like, that was a stolen handgun. They're gonna announce that today at the press conference. It was not illegal. He did not have that handgun legally. So we'll see. We'll see. But what I know for sure, cutting through all of the bullshit, what I know for sure is that he popped out from under blankets and pointed a gun at cops. Are we supposed to? I mean, we watched, the New York City cops, Officer Rivera and Officer Moore. We watched these funerals over the last couple of weeks, and it was incredibly sad, and it was moving, and it was tragic. And, these guys got ambushed in a hallway while serving a warrant in a housing project in New York. They were both killed. How can I feel bad at that tragedy and then somehow be like, well, these cops had a gun pointed at them and they shouldn't have defended themselves? I don't know. Locke's parents, Andre Locke and Karen Wells, described him as respectful. Respectful? He sleeps with a gun. He was sleeping with a gun in his hand. Stop it. They describe him as respectful, including to police. He pointed a gun at police and said some of their relatives work in law enforcement. Well, we all have relatives who work in law enforcement, myself included. Wells said the couple coached their son on how to act and what to do, what they need to do whenever they encounter police officers, because of the danger to unarmed black males. He wasn't unarmed. He was not unarmed. He very clearly has a handgun and he's pointing it at police. My son was executed, the mother said, and now his dreams have been destroyed. He was sleeping with a gun. He was in the home of a person who is a wanted murder suspect. It was a homicide warrant that they were going. Come on, people. Come on. I don't know. There's supposed to be a press conference later today, so we'll see what happens there. But this is, oh God, we're at each other's throats for the most asinine things. And just because you believe that police are a little bit more hardcore on black citizens than they are on white people, that's fine. I tend to think that that's probably true as well. But man, we got to be consistent here. When we see stuff like the body cam footage of what happened in this case, cops can't just be targets. You can't. All right, moving on. Let's see here. Philly Special is trending. Philly Special, that's the big play from the Super Bowl. 4 years ago today, the Philadelphia Phillies, they ran the Philly Special. Here, we got it. We'll show you. Why not? That's a good Clint. You know what? I don't think we can show it. This might be well, whatever. We'll try it anyway. The Philly Special was the play that essentially won the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles and Doug Peterson, who today was hired by the Jacksonville Jaguars as their new coach. It's a good play. It's a good play. It has worked. It's kind of depressing to me that recently both of the players who properly executed the Philly Special were members of my Chicago Bears, Nick Foles and Trey Burton. But they kind of sucked when they were with my team. So here, let's give this a look, shall we? Let's take a look on this day 4 years ago. The Philadelphia, it was just so great because I hated New England so much. Here we go, the Philly special. Let's watch it.
4th and goal.
There you go. Look at Foles. Here's Foles here. He's moving out. You got to watch it. Oh, there he goes. He's wide open. Trey Burton. Touchdown. It's a good play. It's a good play. There you go. He's wide open.
How do you figure?
That's right, Al Michaels. How do you
They go to
figure?
the very, very, very back of the playbook for the touchdown.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It is said that is one of the most memorable plays in the history of the Super Bowl. I completely agree. That play was awesome. That play was great, especially since I was actively rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles in that game. Who wasn't? We're going to talk all this nonsense about Tom Brady. Of course, he's the GOAT. You can't deny that. I mean, just look at the guy's records. Just look at what the guy is. Look at the guy's trophy case. Of course he is. Doesn't mean we have to like him. Doesn't mean that we have to be cool with it. Let's see what else is trending here today. Let's delve into this. Let's see. Is this the last? Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll do this. Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla is trending. Of course, Adam Carolla for me is the guy that was always hysterical on Love Lines. That's right. Love Lines. Dr. Drew, Adam Carolla. Boy, Adam Carolla was funny. He's such a quick wit. But now he's a grown-up man now, and he's got some grown-up man opinions. And Adam Carolla is trending today because he was on Hannity last night, and he said something that always got everybody into Twitter. He says, if AOC, speaking of junior New York Congresswoman, she's like a rookie congressman still. Adam Carolla says to Hannity, if AOC was fat and in her 60s, would anyone listen to her? Here's what I'll say about that. He's not wrong. I don't understand. I've said this before. You've heard me say this. I don't understand why anyone listen. Nobody is. You want to know who's listening to AOC? Fox News. You know who's listening to AOC? The far right. She is used as the spoon to stir everybody up. But the fact of the matter is that she is powerless. She chairs no committees. She is a junior member of every position that she holds within the United States Congress and within the Democratic caucus. No, she is not a leader of the party. She comes from, name me, here's the thing. Here's something I like to say. Okay, AOC, such an important congresswoman. Name the person that she replaced. Nobody knew who the representative from that area of Queens was before AOC. AOC was wholly promoted by the right because, one, she is attractive. They put her up. She looks good in the picture. And then they get to slam her. Her power is entirely generated by the people who hate her. The people in the Democratic caucus, she's not taken seriously. Not yet. She's a kid. She's a junior. With that said, the left does the exact same thing. With the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lorena Bobberts and the Cawthorns, the Madison Cawthorns. These people are also, those people don't even sit on any committees. Those people, I think maybe Cawthorn does, but I know that Marjorie Taylor Greene is forbidden from sitting on any. Nobody takes these people. No. Is the fact that AOC is attractive, is that a big reason why she's been promoted as heavily as she has by the right? Yes, she has. She hasn't been promoted heavily by the left. She hasn't. The big talk about everything about AOC is name one thing she's done that's good. You won't hear it. Name 15 things that she's done that's bad. You know those because those are the ones you're told about. This is a junior representative with zero power either in the Congress as a whole or within the Democratic caucus. And she is simply promoted by people who want to turn her into something. They want to turn her into a villain. I couldn't tell you the first damn thing about her. Here's a quick thought experiment. If AOC was fat and in her 60s, would anyone listen to another thing she said ever? No, because that was pretty much how you're describing the person she reported or replaced there. She is promoted because she is easy on the eyes and she's used as a hate stick. She's like, look at her. Look at her. Look. She's a bunch of he's not wrong. He's trying. How dare you say he's not wrong? Adam Carolla is not wrong when he said, but he's also not being completely open about the situation surrounding her. Yes, the fact that she's attractive makes people want to look at her when they put that static picture up there on Fox News for 40 minutes out of the hour. You know, she's not horrible to look at. And then they just bash. It's like they're afraid of what she represents. I don't know what she represents. I have no idea. I can tell you that I've heard her say something. I've only heard her say things that I disagree with because that's the only coverage that she gets is negative coverage created entirely by the right. She doesn't go on the morning news shows. She's not on these lamestream media shows being promoted by the likes of, it's just not something, or maybe she is. I just don't wake up that early. Women can't exist in public without offending misogynists like Adam Carolla is one of the arguments. He's not wrong. Well, he's a hot take artist. Adam Carolla has been a hot take artist since he came on the scene. He's not wrong. Her looks have everything to do with her high profile, but also she is entirely promoted by people on the right. They're the ones who have made AOC a household name, not anyone on the left. Pelosi doesn't even seem to like her. Pelosi doesn't want anything to do with her. She's not championed by the at least not the mainstream Democrats. The caucus hasn't put her in charge of anything. She is a minor player who has been amplified to a household name because of the way she looks and because she's young and she's an easy target for the right. That's it. She's not important. She's not important at all. Neither is the Ilhan Omar. You know how many members of Congress there are? And yet, for some reason, we have amplified 3 far left wackadoo liberals. We have amplified them to being the ones whose names we know, even though they don't chair any committees, they don't pass any laws, they're not important in the grand scheme. But they're easy. They're easy targets. He's not wrong though. She is her physical attributes are one of the reasons. Same could be said for Lorena Boebert. You know, I didn't know what Liz Cheney looked like until recently. You know, if Liz Cheney looked like a bikini model, you know, maybe we'd have known who Liz Cheney was before, but that wasn't happening. All right, so there you go. That's why Adam Carolla is trending here as well. Let me see. Let me jump in and let's see if there is anything that has started trending since we began the show. Brie Larson is trending. Oh, I love Brie Larson. No, that's another one that Fox News likes to say. Yeah, she did something. I don't know what she did. She's Captain Marvel and she's hot. That's all I can. I'm not listening to any political hot takes from Brie fucking Larson. Would you people stop it? She's a hot actress who plays Captain Marvel. She looks great in the rubber suit they put her in. That's pretty much the extent of my admiration for Brie Larson. Fans discuss Brie Larson's new NFT. Oh, God, she's got an NFT. Waffle House is trending. Oh, God. Oh, you guys. I'm like 2 weeks into my diet. I would kill for a Waffle House visit. Oh, boy. I love the Waffle House. You know, that's one of the great things about the South that I mean, there's a lot of great things. I grew up in the Midwest, right? I didn't have a lot of full-on contact with the South, but one of the great things that I discovered upon moving down here was just the majesty of the Waffle House. What I would kill. People in the Chicago area would kill if there was a Waffle House on I-80 at Harlem, right over there by the music theater. Just drop right next to the Cracker Barrel. There's a Cracker Barrel there. Put a Waffle House there. But we don't have them. We don't have them in the north. You got to get like into Arkansas. You got to go down to the very bottom tip of Illinois before you can even start to sniff a Waffle House. I don't know why Waffle House is trending. I just love to talk about Waffle House. And yeah, you do. you got to get a waffle. You just got to get one waffle. That's not, you get like one of the scrambles. You get like one of these skillets where they just put everything to, oh God, it's so good. And it's so American. Every time I go to a Waffle House, I'm like, man, this is America. Everybody in here is happy. Of course, I've never been to a Waffle House at 2 a.m. after the bars close. I understand it's a much different vibe. Wholly different energy happening in a Waffle House when it's a bunch of drunks late at night. But, I've been to Waffle Houses like in the morning for breakfast and stuff. Oh, it's so great. Everybody's in a good mood. The coffee's good too. The Waffle House coffee is really good. They ought to sell that in stores. Some are pointing out former North Carolina representative and Senate hopeful Mark Walker's choice of food from a Waffle House after he shared a photo of his meal. All right, let's see. Let's see what he's doing. Oh, God. All right. All right. I am a foodie, so I can completely see what the problem here is. So this dude went to Waffle House, and he's like, look at how normal and everyday I am. Somebody says, it's not for the faint of heart, says the badass wearing a suit and tie in a Waffle House at 10 a.m. Eating the blandest Waffle House meal ever. Let's see. Appears that he's got dry white toast, plain hash brown. Plain hash brown. He doesn't have the green peppers. He doesn't have the chunks of ham. He doesn't have the cheese. He doesn't have the onions. Just a plain hash brown. Bland white toast, plain hash brown, and what appears to be an egg white. Not even call it an omelet, because, for my money, an omelet is, something's in there. This just looks like fried egg white. This dude, no waffle. He didn't get the waffle on the side. You got to get the waffle on the side. How are you going to go to a Waffle House and not get the waffle on the side? And by the way, eat that first. Eat the waffle first, because the waffle's going to get cold. And, waffles, they start to disintegrate once they get cold. They're not. This guy sucks. This guy is just pandering. Look at me. Take a picture of me at the Waffle House like a regular person. Yes, I'll have plain white toast, hash brown, just nothing, just the potato. And then I would like an egg white. What do you want to be, an omelet? What do you want inside? Just the egg white. You know what I like to get? I like to get like 3 eggs, hash browns, jalapenos, onions, green peppers, and then ham chunks, and all of that shit just smashed together. Just smashed together and put it on a plate. Whoa! And then you get the Tabasco with a little waffle on the side. Just one waffle, and you eat it first. Can you tell I'm on a diet? I desperately want Waffle House right now. Boy, if anybody ever convinces Waffle House to expand, they always do that with White Castle. White Castle needs to expand to the South. No, they really don't, because the South has a thing called Crystals, which is exactly the same. It's exactly the same as a White Castle. You don't need to expand. But like when In-N-Out comes to a new location, people go crazy. I am telling you, man, if I could convince somebody to let me open a Waffle House, like right there, and I know exactly where it should go, I-80 at Harlem. Oh, be fantastic. Okay, so Waffle House is trending. Man, I really want a Waffle House skillet scramble right now. Let's see here. Blazers, Kanye, we did that. Cheney, political. We're not going to get into that. Joe West, Major League Baseball. There will be 5 new Major League Baseball umpires beginning this season. They replaced the recently retired. I don't care. Nobody cares about that. It's World Cancer Day. But I don't think, this is what we were talking about, is Wear Red Day, where everyone's being encouraged to wear red, but that's for heart disease awareness. But it's also World Cancer Day. Screw you, cancer. You're like terrible. Everybody hates cancer. Brie Larson, Kawhi, Clippers forward Kawhi Leonard, who has been kept on the sidelines with an ACL injury. Okay, there's no news there. Jungkook's birthday. I'm telling you, every day of the week, it's another Korean boy bander's birthday. Now, how did I see this in the birthdays? It's saying here that it's Rosa Parks' birthday. Oh, I see. Rosa Parks' birthday, born on this day in 1913. Yeah. Okay. Happy birthday, Rosa Parks. I should have mentioned that, but I didn't, because when I go through the birthdays, I usually start at like 1930. And the reason for that is I'll get to the people who died on this day, right? If I'm going to wish happy birthdays to people, I try and keep it for the most part to be people who are still alive, unless it's somebody who died young or there's something interesting to say about the way they died. But that's why I missed it. It's Rosa Parks Day. Rosa Parks' birthday, born on this day in 1913. Someone named that's not a nice way to do it. An author, Bob Proctor, died, 87 years old. I'm not sure what I don't know who that is, but I'm sure that there are people who loved him. Okay, Stipe Miocic, who is a former UFC heavyweight champion, is trending. He's trending because Johnny Bones Jones, is saying that he wants to fight Stipe. That'd be a super fight. That'd be a hell of a fight. All right. I think that's it. I think that's pretty much all that we got here. Let me jump into the chat room. Let's see what we've all been talking about here today. Like I said, I want to get out of here at a fairly reasonable time because I got a bunch of stuff I got to do. April says, hello. Leslie says, hi, Pugs. Adam says, sup, players. Jeff, roads aren't good enough for me to drive from Fort Worth to Buckner and Garland Road, so no kids for me tonight, maybe tomorrow. Actually, you know what? I mean, I obviously don't have to drive quite as far as that, Jeff, but I'm telling you, man, this sun, the way the sun is blaring right now, take it from me, take it from my Midwestern ass. That's going to make the roads a lot easier to drive on. Even if it is still like 30 degrees or whatever, the sun is gonna melt a lot of the ice. Still, you got to be careful. Got to be very careful. But I am very encouraged by what I'm seeing here with the sun. Although I say that, and then it's like, oh yeah, we don't have any salt here. So none of these roads have been salted. None of these roads. It's just ice. What is the temperature now? Let's see, has the temperature gone up? The sun is really... If the temperature goes over 32 for a couple of hours with this sun, then the roads should be all right. At least while the sun's up. They'll freeze up again, like tonight at 6 o'clock. So you gotta be careful of that. Let me see here. It's taking forever for me to get a temperature here. All right, we'll check on that in a minute. NBC Sports, Jeff points out, is where I'm finding all of the Olympic stuff. Adam says, I'm looking at my TiVo app now, and the opening ceremony is on NBC tonight at 7. Okay. Jeff Glenn likes Olympic badminton. Adam Reyna points out that Patty Hearst is a grandma to Chris Hardwick's offspring. Really? Chris Hardwick married a Hearst? That's pretty good. There's a lot of what they like to call generational money there. It's 32 degrees currently. Hopefully that'll go up. Let's see. Comment Jeff makes about Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle wasn't that bright, but he wasn't a smug POS like Palin. Mike Pence sought advice over the election certification plot, and Quayle told him not to go along with it. Frank Smith says, hi, Pugs. I say hi back to you, Frank. Okay. Anything that I see the name of politically divisive people, I just skip over. So I'm skipping over some of these. Byron says, Natalie Imbruglia, she hated Torn. Look up her Stern interview from when it was released. Yeah, that's too bad. I didn't hate Torn. I like Torn. And I really like Natalie Imbruglia. Happy birthday, Natalie. 47 years old today. Rob says, I would know Gavin Degraw if I heard him. Yeah, probably. I think I said that. Texas Rangers 4, shocked to learn that Liberace was gay. Liberace died on this day. My mail hasn't come since Tuesday, Byron says. Okay. What happened to the whole rain or sleet or snow of dark of night, whatever the hell? Isn't that supposed to be the credo, the pledge of the United States Postal Service? Some comments on Pastor Greg Locke. He's a giant shit stain. Yeah, he seems like it. My youngest has Facebook, but he's only allowed to have family as friends. And I have his password. The thing I've learned about kids and computers is that we can think that we're outsmarting them, but I don't know. They seem to know. My kid knows way more about computers than I do. And why wouldn't he? I spent the first 30 years of my life never having seen a computer. And then all of a sudden, computers were everywhere. So I've been playing catch up. And not only am I playing catch up, but the new knowledge of how to use computers and all of these things is competing with the knowledge that I had from the first 30 years of my life. They're battling it out. This doesn't make sense. Well, this makes sense. I'm having that whole thing. Our kids today, my 12-year-old kid, he has never known anything but I mean, that's all that he's way more advanced with computers than I am. Texas Rangers 4 also says that Gina Carano is hot. Yeah, she was. Is she still? I don't know. I haven't really seen her. She seems. You want to know the thing that I don't find particularly attractive about Gina Carano? Doesn't she have like really big, broad shoulders? Like I like I don't, that's not something I like. She's like a weightlifter girl. I don't like weightlifter girls. Jeff says that the Philly special that true Cowboy fans were not rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles. I get that. It's like how I can't root for the 40 or the Packers no matter what. Yeah, Jeff says AOC's on 5 committees. Yeah, she is. She didn't chair any of them. She is a junior member. She doesn't have any sway. She's Bill Martin says the roads have been salted. They have. Really. That's good. They use brine. I think they use sand. I think sand doesn't work. Sand is not the thing. Sand doesn't do anything. Sand just makes it harder for you to see the ice. I understand the thought. Oh, the sand will be, it'll give you a little traction. Well, maybe if you dumped like 1 billion tons of sand on the road, but you're not doing that. You're just covering up. You're dusting the road with sand. That's not salt. Salt, it means these rock salt, these big pits, like you're driving on gravel, and the salt actually creates traction, while at the same time, the chemical reaction between the salt and the ice causes the ice to melt. So that's good. But I get it. I understand why you don't have salt here, because you're not going to have $100 million state salt budget for something that you're never going to use. Well, why not buy it once? Why not just buy $100 million worth of salt once, and then once a year for the next 40 years? Salt doesn't go bad. You can keep that stuff. We do. Illinois does. Like I said, Illinois got these giant things along the sides of the road, these giant salt containers where when it snows, the trucks pull up to them, they fill them up, and then they get out there on the road. Salt is amazing for snow removal. It's amazing. They use sand with pebbles and rocks that help it melt. No, Adam, no. Pebbles and rocks and sand do not have any kind of chemical reaction with ice. It doesn't. It helps with traction. I'll give you that. It helps with traction to a degree, but you're still dealing with the ice that's underneath. Now you just have created these unbelievable black ice situation. Why the ice got to be black? Because you don't see it. That's what do you say? You can't see black people coming? No, I'm not saying about people at all. I'm using black as a descriptive color, not as a race. Jeff says, I'm making pecan butter. Should I use it to make pecan butter cookies or pecan butter fudge? Oh, all right. Well, now you're asking me something that I'm actually interested in. The pecan butter cookies, that sounds like garbage. Make the fudge. Go with the fudge, Jeff. Okay. Adam, I don't know what this is about. I applaud you, Adam. You're being a bit preachy, but as Adam is wont to do, maybe create an environment where your kids trust you. Okay. We're all trying. That's not, you didn't just crack the code on parenting. I mean, I've seen your lovely children, and I hope that you have the kind of relationship where they do trust you. But I don't know. I've got a 12-year-old little bank robber. I've got a 12-year-old little con man. There is, we trust each other. I know not to trust him. That's basically the level of our trust. He trusts me to be a sap and be able to be manipulated into getting him ultimately whatever the hell he wants. And I trust him to know that he is never going to be above board with me about anything. He's a little con man. We have a wonderful relationship. We're trying to work through it. Okay, I was being sarcastic with the guy who said he only lets his kids have Facebook with family only. Okay, I gotcha. I thought so. All right. Severe weather. Breaking news on CNN. Icy system in Texas. First test of power grid since deadly 2021 freeze. I saw that there were some power outages in Collin County. We didn't have any. We're fine. So far, so good. We will knock wood. We'll see if that holds up. Hopefully it does. It looks like we're through the worst of it, right? I mean, I'm looking at the extended forecast. It's going to be in the 70s by this time next week. It's a high of 72 degrees, at least as far as this stupid weather thing. But it's always wrong. My weather thing is always wrong. I'm telling you, I said it. I said, we'll be out on the lake by St. Patrick's Day. By St. Patrick's Day, we'll be back on the jet skis. We'll hit 90 we will hit 90 for the first time by March 1st. God, I love it here. It's just so great. I can put up with this. This is like, a couple of days of the cold and there's a little bit of snow on the ground. The roads I am actually a little concerned about the roads now that you're all freaking me out about the roads here now, guys. Hope you're happy. You've got me concerned. Rob says, doesn't sand have a level of salt? I don't know. I don't think so. Certainly not the kind of road salt. What bet you want, Byron? That we're not out on the lake by St. Patrick's Day, or that we hit 90 before March 1st? I bet you we're going to hit 90 by March 1st. But you're right. I don't want to make that bet. But Byron is our resident degenerate gambler. Byron is rolling that dice on everything. I don't bet, so I'm not going to make that bet. All right, here we are. 90 by March 1st. So, okay. So the bet will be, no, I'm not going to take the bet. Sorry. I'm just saying, Byron. Bragging rights. There you go. I'll make that bet. Bragging rights. Pugs, don't you already brag about everything? Yeah, I do. I'm a bit of a braggart. When you have so little, you have to amplify the few things that you actually do have. So don't hold it against me. All right, that's it. I gave you a full 2 hours. I said it was going to be a little bit shorter than 2 hours, but it looks like, oh, God. John Hinckley, come on. Would you load up, John Hinckley? Would you please load up? By the way, my Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young songs are all still on Spotify. I don't know what that's about. Oh, I do know what that's about, because it was just like David Crosby, he sold his stuff, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash sold all their stuff, and Neil Young has just pulled off his solo work that he still has controlling interest of. The other ones are all controlled by publishing houses and record companies and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you, thank God that old John Hinckley, he's not getting involved in this Spotify nonsense. His music is still available. A little now. Things are going. Look at the sun, man. Look at that. The sun is coming out. Beautiful. That is understood. Do what you can to support the show. I appreciate it. We're done. We're done screaming about that stuff for a while. You guys are all so awesome. You help us get through this each and every month with your support, whether it's monetary support or just word of mouth support, sharing. Love it. Love you. Appreciate you. The best is yet to come. Best is yet to come. All right, I'm gone, folks. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday for High Noon. I have got an old guitar. That is all I need. I don't need no 401.